This week on thERINpy, it's the midlife maven, Alicia Erickson. Alicia is a mom of two and in the best shape of her life in her 50s. Her goal is to inspire women in midlife during a time in their lives when roles might be shifting and they feel a little lost in the mix. She has certainly inspired me. I had to have her on the show and get all of her fitness and wellness secrets. And if you want to see the muscle tone on this 53-year-old mom, go follow her right now at Alicia E on Instagram. Please do me a favor and hit subscribe where you're listening to this episode. That way you'll get an alert every time a new thERINpy drops. Maybe even take 2 seconds to leave me a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It would help me so much. If you're not following the show on Instagram, it's thERINpy with Erin Washington, or following me at I am Erin Washington. Send me a DM, pitch me guests or show topics. And if this episode resonates, please consider sending it to a friend, sharing it on social media. And now your weekly dose of thERINpy with the midlife maven, Alicia Erickson. I don't know if you're familiar with thERINpy, but it's me doing live therapy with a coach or a
Ooh.
psychiatrist with whatever I'm going through, somebody I can learn from. And right now I'm dealing with sobriety, anxiety,
Mhm. Mhm.
co-parenting, divorce, and
Okay.
dating in my 40s.
Oh
So
my gosh, girl.
you can hit the wellness, fitness,
Yeah.
and full disclosure, I I put this here in my first book just to show you. There was a time where I was in shape
Mm.
like you, and I wrote a book
Mhm.
called Squats and Margaritas and talked about my disordered eating past and how a
Uh-huh.
balanced lifestyle of squats and margaritas got me out of the restriction and deprivation and got my ideal body. I was like 38 when that book
Yeah.
came out after two kids, and wrote a
Yeah.
book saying how women could do it too, kind of like the things you figured out. It's not cardio, it's lifting, it's not starving, it's eating all the time. And I wanted to
Yeah.
talk to the women that I felt like I could help, but I wasn't a nutritionist. I'm sure you can speak to this. I wasn't a
Mhm.
coach, I wasn't a trainer.
Mhm.
So a
Mhm.
writing coach was like, if there's a story of how you got to this body and how you used to live and how you live now, you need to share it. And I
Yeah.
didn't want to, and because my past dealt with anorexia and bulimia. And
Mhm.
I wasn't doing those
Mhm.
behaviors when I was in this shape, but I decided to share that. I wanted to kind of start, obviously, I want to talk about your fitness and wellness journey as of
Yeah.
late, but I wanted to kind
Yeah.
of start from the beginning. Like, did you
Okay.
grow up as an athlete in high school,
Mhm.
in college? Like, was body image ever a thing? Let's talk
Mhm.
like prior to this transformation, what was like fitness and wellness to you?
Yeah. So I grew up in a household where both mom and dad were active. My parents were divorced as well. When I
Mm,
was five, they divorced. But my dad was really, really into running. He got really into triathlons. He did Ironman Hawaii multiple times. So he was a huge inspiration for me. My mom was on the Jane Fonda train, like all the ladies doing Jane Fonda. But he took me to my first ever fun run. And that was, I think, maybe second or third grade. And I remember the feeling that I had when I was done with the race. And it was really hard, but I remember feeling like this feels good. I like the way this feels. And just I think from that point on in my life, having it modeled for me and then experiencing it myself, it was always about my mental health first and foremost, because I understood from a young age what it did for me mentally, emotionally. And obviously the aesthetics are like the side benefits, but it was a not negotiable for me through adolescence, even through having kids. It was always a top priority for me. But I was really into running. I did marathons, I did triathlons. That was kind of my main thing. From teens throughout my 20s. And then I started lifting a little bit in my early 30s when my girls were little, but I would do a lot of the boot camp classes, the class type environment with with the dumbbells. I did a couple of progressive overload training programs. If you remember Jamie Eason, which is so crazy because she actually started following me and I was like, this is
of
insane.
course.
So I was like, you're the first person that I ever really did a program with and understood progressive overload. That was when I was in my early 30s, but I didn't really stick with it. And so then fast forward into my 40s, I got really into CrossFit. So I did that for about 8 years. I think as far as body image stuff, I think I dealt with the same stuff that a lot of us dealt with. And just in my era, in the Gen X era of wanting to be skinnier, honestly seeing my booty and thinking, oh, it needs to be flat. We wanted to have a flat booty.
Can you
Like, isn't that
imagine?
crazy that we would like look at our side profile in the mirror and be like, "Oh, that needs to be flat." And now I'm like, "Yeah, we want it bumping. We want it boom."
Now I'm like hip thrusting and trying to
Yeah,
like grow my butt,
right?
but same. Yes.
Isn't that
Okay.
crazy? So I did,
Yes.
and I did all the, Slim Fast and Nutrisystem and all those the cabbage soup diet. I did all those
Me too.
things. Is we've always just chased skinnier and losing weight and skinnier. And I started to get out of that mentality starting kind of really in my mid 30s when my girls were at that young age and they were a little bit more impressionable. And I'm like, what do I want to be modeling for my kids? And so I really started to change my thinking and change my mindset around that. And just kind of starting to learn how to embrace myself where I was at. It's like, even if I'm not 100% in love with whatever my aesthetic and how I look on the outside, I just know that I really want to focus on feeling good on the inside, being thankful that I can move my body, being thankful that I can do things every day. Like that's a gift, right? And so, and just really trying to really restructure how I think about things. And so I think that's kind of just set me up for this latest trajectory that I've been on.
And I love
Yeah.
that you were inspired to change things and look at things by your girls and motherhood. I
Yeah.
speak,
Yeah.
and that is what I speak on, toxic traits that you're modeling for your kids, being on a
Yeah.
scale, your reaction. A
Yeah.
wedding's coming up. I have to go on a diet and be smaller
Right.
because your daughters are watching all of those little
And I
behaviors.
never spoke those kinds of things out loud.
Nope.
Never, ever talked about that in front of my girls, ever.
I
And they will tell you
friggin'
to
love
this
that.
day they were very thankful that I did not.
I
Yeah.
love it. And so
Yeah.
basically, like you were very fit and active and CrossFit. And was it that you were
Mhm.
doing the same thing into your 40s, but you weren't getting the same result?
Yeah, so that's where I just started to feel things start to shift coming into my 40s. And then, addressing alcohol. That had been something that I honestly mentally struggled with that for many, many years. And as I started to notice that habit forming when my kids were little, like even before I got pregnant, I started noticing that that was like my thing that I would do at the end of the day. And obviously, when I was in my pregnancies and nursing, I didn't drink alcohol, but anytime outside of that, I was regularly consuming alcohol. And it would, like, throughout the years, it would bother me. But then I really started to notice coming into my 40s, I'm like, this is not feeling good at all. I am really regretting this every morning. My anxiety, I'd wake up on a Monday and think, why am I so depressed? Why am I
Yes.
so anxious? What is going on? And then I'm like, well, maybe because Alicia, you drank multiple bottles of wine over the weekend. Like that could be a reason. And it just never dawned on me. And it just started getting harder and harder and harder in my body. And I tried multiple times. I would do the sober October, I would do the dry January, and it would just make its way back. And
Yes.
I got to that point where I'm like, I am so sick of my own crap. Like, I am so sick of this. I am so sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. I am so done. And sometimes you have to do things a few times. Like, you got to throw the spaghetti at the wall before it sticks a few
Yes.
times, and
I do.
I'm a big believer in not everything always being linear. Like, growth is not always linear. There's going to be ups and downs.
I wanna stay on
Yeah.
alcohol because we talked a little bit before we were recording. I'm on that journey, and I'm so glad you
Hmm.
said it took a couple attempts because I would do a
Yeah.
dry January. 2 dry Januaries ago, it was white knuckling it. Like, I would wake up and cross off the day and be like, "Okay." It was so hard. The
Yeah.
last dry January, I went into February. I think I did like 45 days. But with my eating disorder past and
Hmm.
healing from the restriction, deprivation, I can't have it, I figured out it's like too high of a bar to say I can't drink. I'm sober. So
Mm.
I this is my third attempt. And it's
Hmm.
never been easier. And what I say, and I don't know if this will work for anyone, but anyone that's listening that has had a history of disordered eating, I say I can have a drink once a week, like on one night a week, if it's worth it. And what that
Hmm.
has done for me is not make it so unattainable and off limits, but weeks will go by and I'm like, not really worth it. So it's like another week and another
Hmm.
week. But I'm like, I can have it if I
Hmm.
want. But then in the moment, I'm like, this is not worth it. And like you said, like in your 40s, it does not serve you anymore.
Yeah.
Alcohol serves you in your 20s and 30s. It had a place. But in my 40s and me being perimenopausal AF, my mom was in
Yeah.
menopause at 48. So I
Yeah.
know I
Oh
just
yeah.
started
You're
HRT.
there. You're right
Yes.
there.
But, like, it does nothing for you, and it's like 1 glass
Yeah.
of wine like, even 1 glass of wine, I'd wake up just feeling kinda off, and just, like, the compliments I get now, it's like, "Your skin and you just look so great." I never got that before, and I just wanna be like, "Oh, thanks." I'm like, "I stopped drinking," and I
Hmm.
know that's what it is, and I don't
Hmm.
say I'm sober, but, I mean, I haven't had a drink in a couple months, but if I want to have a drink and I'm dating. So sometimes I'll be like, if
Mhm.
I'm going to be this awkward turtle on a date for the first time in 20 years, like I can have a glass of wine, but then I get in the moment and I'm like, it's not worth it. Like I want to get up
Yeah,
and feel great in the morning. So that has been something that helped me. I wondered if you ever
yeah.
tried to moderate. Was it like moderation didn't work out and then you stopped altogether?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I tried so many times. I would do the mental bargaining where I'm like, "Okay, I'm just gonna do this, Friday, Saturday, and then maybe, like, on a Wednesday, midweek, I'll have 1." But I would do this all the time. And then it would
Yes.
always just end up being every day, and it was
Right.
seriously most days of the week for me. And
It
I would
was me
even
too.
drink I would drink I love Pinot Grigio, that was my absolute favorite, but I
Yeah.
would drink until I had, like, this much left in the bottom of the bottle, just so I could say that I didn't drink an entire bottle of wine.
I feel that.
You
Uh-huh.
know what I'm saying? Just so I could, like,
Yes, I do.
mentally say, "Well, I didn't drink the entire bottle in one day, in one night. I didn't do that." Like, that is literally the bargaining kind of stuff, and that's when I realized, and it's so interesting what you're saying about telling your like the way you're programming your mind around it, which I think is so important because this last time when it finally stuck, now it's been 7.5 years, I read the book This Naked Mind. So I don't know if you've read that book.
Annie Grace did my show. I have
Oh,
thoughts about
oh, I
that.
need to go listen. I need to
So
listen.
Annie did Squats and Margaritas, which is what my show used to be before I became more into the mental health space. And I DM'd her and said, I realize my show is called Squats and Margaritas, but I just finished this Naked Mind. I would love to have a conversation. She was like, absolutely.
Love
I
that.
know people, and I know you, that
Hmm.
listen to it and it completely reframes everything and it teaches you not to want alcohol. And I get that. And I still like quote a lot of things that she said. It didn't
Yeah,
for me, like, and I listened to it twice, Leisha.
yeah, yeah,
It didn't for me like turn something off. So we had the same kind of conversation. And I was like, I can moderate. And she was
yeah.
saying, she literally told me it was irresponsible for me to preach moderation because not everyone can. And I was like, I
Mm,
hear you, but
yeah.
it works for me. And it's kind of like what you said, you have to kind of figure out I
What works
can
for you?
moderate. And
Hmm.
but it was like I still didn't feel good even if I had a 1 or 2
Yeah,
glasses once a
yeah.
week. It wasn't in the mental like you said, the bargaining, the
Yes.
bandwidth it takes. First thing in the morning, Alicia, I was like, am I gonna drink? Did I drink last night? Taking it off the table, I get how that would just be so freeing. I
Oh,
have found so
so
many
freeing.
alternatives, like
Yeah.
non-alcoholic IPAs, and I finally in the past 2 months have found 2 wines that taste there's a Pinot Grigio. It tastes exactly
Ooh.
the same, alcohol removed. Sea Glass is the brand.
Oh my
Shout out to
gosh.
Sea Glass if they want to sponsor the show. But I talked to
Sponsor
Annie
me.
and she
Yeah.
was like, preaching moderation, which was my squats and margaritas. I was like, lift heavy, have the indulgence. And it's
Mhm.
not as like enticing because I would say like I would have drinking days. Like Saturday is my drinking day. So I can have
Mhm.
wine. I could never have wine just open in my fridge before because it was a drinking day. Tomorrow's not a drinking day. Now I could because it's not so enticing and up on the pedestal. I was like, I just moderate. But she did say
Mhm.
that I was wondering what you thought about that. Like it's irresponsible to preach moderation if someone else can't. And I kind of am like, I don't know if I agree with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily am on track with that because I do think that different minds work different ways. And so, like, I don't know if you've seen, I've collabed sometimes with Soberish Mom. She's
I had her on
awesome.
the show
Yeah,
too.
yeah, she's
Katie
awesome. And
Nessel.
yeah, Katie, and she's local to me. So it's easy for us to get together and hang. But that's why I'll talk with her because some people do better with the moderation route. For
Yes.
me, that wasn't for me. But
Right.
what did resonate with me in the book was she did say something, that you mentioned earlier. You don't have to say you're doing it forever. You can just say,
True.
I don't need it today. Like, I don't need it right now. And so I'm not doing it right
Yes.
now. You don't have to say, I'm never going to drink ever again. I mean, to me at this point, it's been 7.5 years. So there's no benefit to it. Like, it's
Totally.
literally a class 1 carcinogen. It's a neurotoxin. I don't need it.
Exactly.
But I don't think it's, if you're going to have one a month, yeah, I think
So
it's okay. Each person needs to decide what is right for them. That's the thing. It's like knowing yourself and knowing how you operate and just deciding what is going to be best for you. What is going to
yes.
be most successful for you.
I have changed my
Yeah.
whole relationship with drinking. Like, and I will still have shame to say, like 2 months ago, and at my family, I was out with my sister and my mom. They know I'm not drinking. I had a
Yeah.
Bloody Mary. It was like, oh, I thought you didn't drink. And I'm like, bitch, I had one drink in the last 2 months. And I felt like shame for it because I messed up my days. But I have completely changed my relationship with alcohol. And it's not
Yeah.
even something I think about anymore. It was the third attempt, but like
Yeah.
that shame that I felt over having one glass or one Bloody Mary in 2 months. And people like, I used to binge drink. I used to, if I was on a morning talk show, I was either making margaritas or talking about how not to be hungover. Like I have changed my entire, I've
Wow.
rebranded my show, but I still
Yeah.
have that shame of like, if I have a glass of wine
Yeah.
and I mess up the days. So I'm still in the early stages. Like I'm a few months,
Yeah.
I've been on the train for a couple of years, but the last
Yeah.
2 years it was so hard. I'm finally like, I don't even think about it. I don't have to run and
Yeah.
cross off a day because it's like, I know I haven't had a
That's
drink in a few
amazing.
weeks, but I don't, but it did take a few attempts. Do you have any
Yeah.
tips for someone in early sobriety or something that just made it like a little bit easier? Did you have to replace it with something? Like any kind of tips for someone that's still navigating sober curiosity?
What I did was I personally committed to the last 90 days. And so it was a challenge that happens at the end of the year. And I've run this challenge now in my groups where you're really going into the most stressful time of the year, where it's all the events, all the parties, all the holidays. And I thought, I'm going to do this and challenge myself to do this the last 90 days because it's going to be hard because there's going to be so many social gatherings.
Yes.
And but I just committed to 90 days. And so I think that if you can commit to 90 days and not say you're going to do this forever, but just 90 days, because 90 days will prove to yourself that you don't need it. You'll prove to yourself by the end of that 90 days that you can do without it, that you don't have to
Totally.
have to have it. And that's really a great amount of time to set a new habit. Now, was that hard? Yeah, that was hard. And a lot of times maybe there's stuff that I wasn't dealing with or emotions that I wasn't dealing with that I was wanting to numb out every day. I was really in the thick of raising teenagers and it was stressful. And there's a lot of different stressful situations going on. And it was really just having to deal with my emotions, allowing those emotions to come, allowing myself to feel them, not allowing them to dictate what I decide to do with them, but just allowing my body to feel those things and process through those things, and sit with that. But really reminding myself how amazing I felt every morning when I woke up, remembering I feel so freaking amazing right now. I feel like I have a new lease on life. I am not hungover. I am not cloudy. I am not lethargic. I am not bloated. I feel so good. I want to feel like this every day. So if there was ever that thought at night or that temptation or that craving, I would ask myself, is this really worth 10 minutes of feeling good for feeling like absolute trash tomorrow, feel horrible, have regrets, feel bad about myself? Is it worth it? Is it
Yes.
really worth it for that 10 minutes is going to give me a little bit of a high? And
Yes.
it's just not. And to me, again, it's that slippery slope because I wouldn't stop at just one. It was like one or two or three, and it wouldn't stop, and it would be happening the next night. And so it was just like I need to break this off completely. I would drink sparkling water. Do sparkling water when I'm out. I do a sparkling water with a splash of crayon and a lime. Nobody will even ask you what you're drinking, but that was kind of my go-to to replace. You'd find another activity that you would normally do, or just go to bed. Because it was
Yeah.
usually for me, it was at night after the kids had gone to bed, after I'm done with all my responsibilities, and I'm sitting on the couch, and that's when I just grab a sparkling water, or if I'm really struggling, just go to bed. Just get in bed,
Yes.
go to bed. But it's
Uh-huh.
going to be hard to break off that dopamine hit that you're used to getting. It's like a dopamine reset or a dopamine fast in a way.
Yes. You made me think Katie Soberish mom said she would just make her run or whatever she would do in the night at night. She's like, I'm not going to skip my run and I can't run if I'm drinking. So she's like,
Yeah,
make it at the time. She would do it at 6 o'clock. So
yeah.
kind of like
Find a
know
different
your
activity to
patterns.
replace that. Yeah.
Waking up bloated and lethargic and
Hmm.
hungover, you're doing that to yourself. It's not like someone waterboarded you with this toxic substance. You're waking up
Yeah.
that way because you did it to yourself. Like reframing that, like, I'm making myself feel this way. And nothing beats feeling how I wake up now. And again, not that I
Yeah.
was waking up hungover, but just like a little my sleep was
Off.
affected. And we are dealing with enough in perimenopause and menopause with sleep.
Oh
So it's
yeah.
like, why would
Oh
you throw
yeah.
something else on top of it? Did you say that
Yeah.
when you stopped drinking alcohol, you developed a sugar addiction?
It did
Okay.
kind of morph into sugar, and that kind of became my crutch that I used to help deal with stress.
Okay. I'm dealing with that now.
Unfortunately.
I want
Yeah.
everything sweet, but I'll be like, well,
Yeah.
at least I'm not drinking, but I'm like, I'm going to put on
Yeah.
like 20 pounds because now I
I
have
know.
Halo tops, pints of ice cream,
Oh my
but I
gosh.
never had this craving for it
Yeah.
until I stopped drinking. I'm not even like a big
Yeah.
sweets listen, but I
But
definitely am
it's
dealing
I
with that
think
now.
that the alcohol satisfies that sweet craving, and so
Yes.
your body's looking for something else. And so that's
Yes.
how it kind of morphed for me. I think I gave myself grace initially because like I just want to be done with the alcohol because that made me feel the worst. I mean, sugar, yeah, that doesn't make me feel great either, but alcohol, far and above worse than sugar for sure. So yeah,
Yes.
I attempted that a few times before finally getting it.
Okay.
And
And we're
I
gonna
mean, for me,
go
I
ahead.
just don't do processed sugar. It's not,
Mm.
I'll do, as far as sweeteners, I'll do some stevia, I'll do some monk fruit, but I do natural, like honey, maple syrup. I'll do some coconut sugar, dates that naturally sweeten my food. But
Okay.
I just don't do all the processed stuff.
Ok, I know that. I wanna
Yeah.
get into that. I wanna
Yeah.
talk about your
Yeah.
diet and your fitness, but while we're on
Hmm.
alcohol, what would you say was the biggest dial mover for you? Cutting alcohol, changing your lifting routine, or, like, firming up your diet?
Oh man. I mean, it's so crazy because I cut the alcohol at age 45.
Yeah.
And then when I was turning 50 is when I really dialed in my nutrition and lifting. So it's
Yeah.
hard to say because I didn't do them all at once, but I know
Okay.
that alcohol holds you back. I mean, alcohol, without a doubt, it's your body just can't be in homeostasis and doing all of its natural functions that it does while you're drinking. Because it's focused on processing the poison while you're drinking.
Yes. Yes, and if you're
So
looking
it
at fat
leaves
loss,
all the other processes. Yeah, it leaves your fat
totally.
loss process to go process the alcohol and deal with the poison.
Exactly. It will
Yeah,
prioritize trying to filter out the alcohol. So if
yeah.
you're trying to lose fat, like, and you're drinking, you're just like setting yourself back.
Hamster, hamster wheel.
Absolutely. So
Yeah,
yeah, so 50, what triggered at 50 this
yeah.
transformation and deciding that you were going to do it? And then what was the first step in the transformation?
So I had been doing CrossFit for about 8 years, and I loved it, and I love the community, and I never ever want to speak ill of anything, and so I will not because I feel like if a woman loves a form of activity and she enjoys that, she should do that. She should do what she enjoys and what she loves, right? I was kind of losing my love for it, and it was feeling like really fatiguing my body. And I felt like I didn't have the results that I would want to have. Now, was my nutritionist dialed in? Not necessarily. But it happened at a time when I had just started empty nesting. So my
Mm,
oldest was off in college. She was already there for a couple years. And then my youngest, we had just dropped off at Arizona State. So I was just looking at this new chapter of wow, okay, because I've always just I was actually a portrait photographer. I don't know if you knew that, but I was a portrait
mhm.
photographer for 13 years, and I loved doing that. It was so much fun. And so I just thought to myself, well, I guess I'll just be pouring into that. And then I'm going to pour into my health and fitness because I've always been passionate about health and fitness. Always, always, always. But I just thought I really have the margins now in my life to just go all in with this, but I want to change something because I'm not feeling good. I'm in the thick of perimenopause. This is not it. Where I'm at is not where I want to be. When everybody else is saying, oh, it's just going to go downhill and there's just no way you can make that change, I said, absolutely freaking not. Watch me. Like, watch me. I'm going to turn 50 this next year. I'm going to be in the best shape ever, ever.
Where
That
do you think that came
freaking,
from? Like
I don't know.
this,
I
you
always
knew
have
it.
that fire in me. I just have a fire in me. I have a fire in me. And I
Yeah.
feel like, I honestly feel like I loved pouring into my girls. Like I loved, loved, loved pouring into them. But I felt like once they were kind of off and doing their own thing and leaving the nest, it's like this was my moment. This was me time. I could really focus on me. And so that's when I was actually watching some other women online and I thought, this is what they're doing. They're lifting. They're not doing all this crazy cardio. They're not doing all this running or CrossFit. They're just lifting, progressive overload. They're walking, they're prioritizing their nutrition, the protein, carbs, and fats, all three. We need all
Yep.
three.
Yep.
And cutting out the crap, prioritizing whole foods. So simple. And I just thought, I'm going to lock this in. I'm locking in. And my body just started to respond so quickly. It was crazy. Like my body, it was like what my body was asking from me to
Yes.
do. And I felt so good. I felt more energy. I felt better than I'd ever felt. And I just started sharing that. And I've always been sharing on socials and I just started sharing that and everything just kind of took off from there. But like, and then the
Absolutely.
physique just changed and changed over time, just kept changing. I initially did a calorie deficit at the
Okay.
very beginning for about 3.5 months. I was in a calorie deficit, but I was always lifting. People always ask, did you start lifting right away or did you wait? No, you lift right away because
Okay.
inevitably in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose some muscle too. You're going to lose fat, but you're going to lose muscle. You can't just decide, oh, I'm only going to lose fat, especially another reason to not go into a deep cut because you're for sure going to be cutting into your muscle. So,
Yeah.
moderate calorie deficit, started lifting right away, not expecting to hit any PRs, when you're in a calorie deficit, but lifting, preserving, maintaining the muscle on my body. And then from there, I went into calorie maintenance, which I think a lot of women don't even know what calorie maintenance is because they're always chasing deficits. So
Yes.
started eating in calorie maintenance and really just started working on body recomposition. And that's just how everything started and just consistent with my lifting, walking, nutrition over the months and years. And then here we are. It's
Okay.
just been awesome. And I love it because it's a lifestyle that I can see just maintaining for the rest of my life.
It
I
can't be
can't
a
be a quick
start
fix.
stop. Yes.
Yeah,
Or like
no.
I
Mm-mm.
broke it, because then you just be like, oh, you broke it. You give yourself permission to eat like shit for the rest of the weekend. You'll start again on Monday. It's not a start
Yeah,
stop. It's a
no.
lifestyle change. Can you
Yep.
explain sarcopenia?
So that's age-related muscle loss. So if you don't use it, you're just gonna lose it. You're gonna it's and that's why you see women that are constantly chasing deficits. There's no what are you cutting? What are you doing a deficit? You're doing
Yeah.
a deficit and you're just losing weight, but you're losing fat and you're losing muscle. You're not going to have any muscle left. If you don't use it as you age, you start losing, especially around the time of perimenopause with bone loss. That starts happening before you hit menopause.
Mm,
So like the bone loss, the muscle loss, everything just starts taking a downward trajectory if you don't do something about it. You got to do
yes.
something about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for someone that's like, no, I have the weights at Orange Theory or something, explain
No.
progressive overload. No.
Yeah. So and again, I never want to shade,
I know.
the group fitness classes, but they're little dumbbells and to actually it's really a lot of work to put on muscle to put muscle on your body. You really have to put intentional work into putting muscle on your body. And if you are week in and week out using the exact same 10-pound dumbbells to do your bicep curls, do you think you're actually going to grow any muscle over the period of time? So for example, my lifts are usually I usually create a program for about 6 weeks. I follow the same lifting schedule for about 6 weeks, and then I'll switch it up because variety is the spice. Now, when I switch it up, I'm pretty much doing the same movement patterns, but I've just switched it up a little bit between the cables and the machines and the free weights just to keep it fun and spicy. But I'm really doing the same movement patterns week in and week out. The goal is to increase my weight over that time. So where I did 10-pound dumbbells for my bicep curls last week, maybe I'll do 12 pounds this week. And then
Yep.
maybe the next week or the week after, I'll do 15 pounds. And maybe even if that means I do 8 reps instead of 10, I'm going to do 8 reps if I can do 8 reps with the 15 pounds. And then maybe in a couple weeks after that, I might do 17 and, the 17 and a half pounders or the 20 pounders, even if
Yeah.
I only do 6 reps, because really that muscle growth is like 6 to 15 reps. I'm usually
Okay.
in the lower range with my compound movements, and I'm usually in the higher range with my isolation movements. Your compound movements are your multiple joints, multiple muscle groups, like your
Yep.
presses, your rows, your squats, your deadlifts. Isolation, biceps, tricep press outs, those are more isolation moves. So, but anywhere in that 6 to 15 range, lower for the compound, higher for the isolation movements. That's how I train personally. But the goal is over that 6 week course of time, you are getting stronger by challenging your muscles and going
Yes.
heavier with the weights, even if it means less reps. But in those classes, a lot of times you're just using the same dumbbells, you're doing multiple movements, you're doing combination movements, you're doing circuits. So you're never resting in between your sets. It's more muscle endurance as opposed to hypertrophy muscle building muscle growth. So that's
Yes.
the difference. That's the difference. That's why progressive overload is where it's at for us ladies.
I
That if
forget
you
about
want
it.
to put on muscle, that's what's going to move the needle for you. That is how you see somebody like me who is lean and muscular. That is from
Yes.
pushing myself really hard in the gym,
Hmm.
really hard in my lifts. That is not from doing circuits. I go
Yes.
a really hard set and then I take a rest. Then I go a really hard set and I take a rest. And I track what I'm doing. I track on my phone. This is what I did last week. What can I do this week? Or what can I do next week? It's going to push myself a little bit harder.
And you said
So,
6 to 12 reps. I would just like to call myself out. I did incline bench this morning and I did 20. I used
Mhm.
20s and I did 20 of them. If I can do 20, I should probably go up on
I
my
mean,
way.
flies, was that
Flies.
flies like
Yes.
that?
Laying
See,
down. Yeah.
that's okay. I would maybe move closer to 15 reps.
Okay.
12
But
to
I could
15,
do,
12 to
so I
15.
could probably do
Go heavier.
higher.
Go a little bit
Yes.
heavier. I
Yes. I
still
can
don't
already
want, the
feel
thing
it's
is,
going to
I
hurt.
want you to be able to maintain your form. So I really want you to have
True.
good form and technique. I don't want you to lose your form and fall apart and get injured. So I want you to maintain your form. So that's why a lot of times I see ladies moving really fast with their reps.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're just like, I'm like, slow it
Yeah.
down,
Yes. Don't use
really
momentum.
slow it, time over tension. Okay. And like really slow your movement down, not rushing. You don't need to rush. We're not in a rush.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk about the trifecta, and why you stopped
Hmm.
running in midlife.
So the running, and I know a lot of ladies still love to run, and I want you to run, and I think you can still run. Maybe just do it, a few days a week,
Why
2 or 3
should you
days a
not
week.
run if you're trying to build muscle? I guess
Well,
that's because I learned this from you.
running is catabolic. It's not, it's muscle eating. Gonna eat your
Yeah.
muscle. It's not
That's
gonna
all you
build.
have to say.
Yeah, muscle running does not change your body composition. It's great cardio. It's really good cardiovascular, good for your heart, but that's not going to change your body composition. That is not going to build muscle. Building muscle is going to, that sculpty, shapely look that you see that you're like, whoa, that's from lifting weights. That's not from running. Running also just spikes your hunger hormones too. Do you ever notice, like when I was running, I was famished. I just wanted to eat all
Yes.
the time. That's why I love walking, because
Me
walking,
too.
it doesn't compromise your muscles. Okay. It doesn't spike your hunger. You're in that fat burning zone when you're walking. And so
Okay.
running is great for cardio. So I would say 2 to 3 days a week after your lift, maybe after an upper body day, do your run if you still love to run. But if you're training for marathons and wanting to build a bunch of muscle, that's probably not going to, you can probably build some, but it's going to be limited with
Okay.
all that running. It's hard on your body too.
And I feel
I'm
like I've heard you
saying.
say if you do cardio like once a week for 10 minutes.
Yeah, this is the way I do cardio personally. I do sprint interval training,
Yeah.
and I do once or twice a week. Again, I usually do it at the end of an upper body day, just because lower body days really gas you. You're using big muscle groups. You're just done, and a lot of times they take me a little bit longer. So usually do a sit session at the end of an upper body day, and it will be 20 seconds, absolutely balls to the wall, as hard as I can go. Like I am maxed out after 20 seconds, and then usually a minute and a half to 2 minutes rest.
Okay.
Repeat that. So repeat that. You're done at 10 minutes. All the cardio bang for your buck that you need.
Oh my
This
God.
again preserves your lean muscle mass and it torches fat. So, and you're getting your cardio in that 10 minutes, just is super effective. I love the assault bike just because I can get my heart rate up so fast with the assault bike. But you can
Yeah.
do the assault bike, you can do an incline walk or incline run, you can do the elliptical, you can do the rower, you can do sled push, you can do jumping squats, jumping lunges, burpees if you don't have access to equipment. But anything that's just going to like skyrocket your heart rate, get up your heart rate for that 20 to 30 seconds, and then recover for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then hit it again, and then 10 minutes you're done. And I actually had my VO2 max tested last summer, and I was at a superior, and this is how I roll.
10
So
minutes. Okay. I can
yeah,
get
10
behind
minutes
that.
once or twice a week.
What did you make me think? Rest. Like somebody
Yes.
that's not resting in between sets or just trying to like kind of you talked about like rushing through it. How important the
Mm,
rest, taking the
yeah.
rest in between.
If you don't rest, how are you going to feel strong enough to go again on that next set and do that heavy weight again? You need
Okay.
to give your muscles time to relax, rest, so you can go back and hit it hard and hit it heavy again. Again,
Okay.
that's muscle hypertrophy, not muscle endurance. If you're not resting and you're constantly doing circuits, that's more muscle endurance.
Mm,
If you really want to build that muscle and actually see the muscles, you got to rest in between. Let your muscles rest so you can hit it hard again when that rest period's up.
like a minute and a half, you
Yeah.
said, between?
So usually for compounds, I'll do 2 minutes, sometimes even
Okay.
three, usually 2 to 3 minutes, and then more isolation movements, usually like 60 seconds, 60 to 90 seconds.
Okay. Let's get
Yeah.
into diet.
Yeah.
My first question is, can you outwork a bad diet?
No, I don't think so. You
Okay.
can't. Everything goes, like, they're both so important. They're both so crucial.
Okay.
You got to have both. Yeah, the nutrition
Okay.
piece is huge. But the goal is is that you fit foods into, this is why macros. So I follow macros.
I was literally gonna ask you about that next.
Yeah,
Macros are
macros,
macronutrients. It's what makes up
macronutrients. Yep.
calories, carbs,
Yep, your
proteins, and
protein,
fats.
carbs, fats. Yep.
Okay.
And so you need all three. Now, if you want to put more of your carbs around your lifts and around your exercise, that's great. I usually put more carbs around my lifts. But you also obviously need the protein. I mean, an easy formula is eating whatever your ideal body weight is. Make sure you eat that in grams of protein daily. Okay.
Okay.
And then 20 to 35% of your macros should be fats. And then the rest fill in with carbs.
Okay. So there was a time
Um,
in my life where I was living and dying by the macros. And for
yeah.
somebody that is coming out of restriction and deprivation and disordered eating, that was a
Yeah.
toxic thing for me. And I feel like it was just
Yeah.
cortisol and stress. I feel like there's a
Yeah.
difference between knowing your macros and
Yeah.
living and dying and having to mark it in the app, because that is how
Yeah.
I used to live. And again, that's when I had these abs, but I was
Yeah.
so like rigid. Now I kind of know my macros, and
Yeah.
figuring it out, I realized how much I was under eating. Like there was
Yeah.
a trainer at my gym that was like, "You're so stressed out." And I'm like, "Yeah, because I do everything right. I barely eat and I do cardio every day." And he was like, he was the one that kind of like reframed everything, but he's like, "You're not eating enough." And to
Hmm.
someone like me, who there was a time where I wouldn't eat carrots, Alicia, because they were a starchy vegetable,
Oh, whoa.
him
Yeah.
telling me to eat more if I wanted to
Yeah.
like move the scale was like unfathomable. But I
Yeah.
started trusting him because I tried everything else, eating more often, and that is when I finally turned my metabolism had turned off. Like I was
Yeah.
starving myself and under eating so much in the name of weight loss, like under eating.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
you can restrict so much that you turn off your metabolism and your body doesn't trust
Yep.
you. And I feel like when I started eating more, and I said you don't have to eat like, if it's scary for someone hearing this and hearing eat more, it can be healthy things, but I was eating every couple
Hmm.
hours. You turn back on your metabolism and your body trusts, like, oh, we can burn because she's going to eat again. My body for
Yep.
so long was probably like, this bitch is about to do a second workout. She didn't eat. So it's holding on to everything. And it
Hmm.
also, if you get into that starvation mode, it's like your body will start burning muscle and prioritize
Hmm.
fat to keep you alive. So if you are
Hmm.
in that severe restriction, which I lived in for so long, all in the
Oh,
name of a weight
man.
loss, like it
Yeah.
was so hard for me to understand eat more. And I'm like, no, 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 calories in versus calories out. But I was expending so many calories and not taking anything in and
Yeah.
thinking I was doing it right, because I feel like that's what women are taught to do. And
Yeah.
that's why I wrote my first book. And I was like, I don't have any credentials, but I can tell you how I used to live and how I've
Yeah.
sustained a 20-pound weight loss through 2 kids and completely recompositioned my body by
Yeah.
eating all the time,
Yeah.
lifting,
Yeah.
getting off the treadmill, and it's just not what
Yeah.
women are taught. So
Yeah.
it was such a mental thing for me to like trust, eat more. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
your body
It's
needs that fuel.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many, because I do group coaching and then I'm now starting to roll out VIP coaching, but I cannot tell you how many women come in and I say, before I even give you your macros or we talk about macros, I want you to just track what you're doing. I just need to know what you're doing. And so many of them are not eating enough.
I know.
And we have to put them in a reverse diet,
Okay.
metabolic reset. Exactly what you're talking about, where we have to metabolically reset, because women don't even know what they don't even know what maintenance is.
Yeah.
We're always chasing deficits. You don't even know, like, and so we reverse them. We usually do like 50 to 100 calories per week until you are at proper maintenance. Then we keep you there for a while, and have you lifting. And I cannot tell you how many ladies are like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I'm seeing definition. All of a sudden I feel amazing. All of a sudden I have all this energy in the gym and I'm like, I'm feeling more ripped. I'm like, yeah, because you can't. And this is what I say, like, if you're going to go on a muscle building journey and you've struggled with food in the past, you probably are going to most likely work towards healing that relationship with food, because you can't build muscle and not eat. Like,
Yes.
you can't do it. And it's like, and for a lot, I do get a lot of women that like they're hesitant to track macros because they said it's created some disordered eating in
Yes.
the past. And I guess
Yes.
I just try to put the mentality around it, like, make sure that you're telling yourself, I need to make sure I'm getting enough. Not, I can only have this much, but
Yes.
I need to make sure I'm getting enough protein. I need to make sure I'm getting enough carbs. I need to make sure I'm getting enough fats so that I can properly put on muscle and be strong and
I love
sculpty
that.
and ripped.
That makes sense.
Like, instead of like, I can only eat this, like, oh, I need to make sure I'm getting enough.
Okay. I love that.
But it just, right. But it just, like, it's amazing once they see they've been under eating. They don't even realize it.
you
They're just
have to
trying to eat
trust
less,
though.
thinking that their body's going to change. It's like your body ain't going to change
No,
if
you
you're not
don't know
feeding
you
it.
don't
You got
know
to
that
fuel
though.
it.
It's so
Yeah,
hard to trust, like, you want me to eat more, and you're like, "No, no, no," because you're like, "That's not right. It's less calories and expend more." It's such a mindset
yeah,
shift to trust,
yeah,
but it's like, look at you. Like, you're like, if you're just like,
yeah,
"Look at me, this is how I do it." And that takes me
yeah,
to, will you just kinda walk me through what
yeah,
you eat in a day and, like,
yeah,
times? Like, are you intermittent fasting and not eating until a certain time? Like, when are the meals happening, and what's, like, an average day look like?
yeah. So I don't really do that. And people ask me about intermittent fasting. I don't really do that.
Right. Good.
I feel, to me, I feel like if I'm done eating at 6 or 7 at night, and then I don't eat until 6 or 7 in the morning, like that, to me, that's enough of a fast. 12 hours is a great amount of time to fast. If
Yeah.
ladies really want to intermittent fast, I'm like, well, make sure your fast ends before your lift so that you at least get a little something, something in, like some carbs or something before you lift.
Can I ask,
But
when you
I
say they want
usually,
to intermittent fast, what is
yeah,
the benefit? Just so they're not eating after a certain time, because so it's less calories, or is there a fat
maybe
burning benefit?
there's maybe it's a fat burning thing, their own mental thing
Okay.
that they want to do it for.
Okay.
But I don't do that. So I usually eat before I lift. I usually get a good meal in before I lift, especially on a lower body day. If you've seen my protein waffles, they're amazing.
Oh
They're
my
so
god.
good. Yeah,
Yes.
protein
Yeah.
waffles with a little nut butter drizzle on top with some blueberries, delicious. And then I do like a yogurt bowl after I lift.
Okay.
I usually do like Greek yogurt with some granola, apples, and then I usually do a lunch a couple hours after that. I have my favorite lunch. It's like I love Ezekiel bread. I love
Mhm.
egg and egg whites, raspberries, and then I usually do. I have one of my sweet treat dupes. If you've ever seen my sweet treat dupes,
Like
I
what?
have a whole recipe list of all my sweet treat dupes. They're so good. Everybody
Okay.
loves
Give
them.
me
Yeah, I
one.
have all different kinds of things. I have like Snickers protein bites. I have chocolate covered Aloha bars. It's all, but again, there is some protein powder in there, but there's honey, oats. It's
Mm.
very simple, easy ingredients, but usually again sweetened with honey, maple syrup, stuff like that. So I usually do a sweet treat dupe in the afternoon because that's kind of when I want something sweet. Usually is
Yeah.
in the afternoon. So I do like a little sweet treat dupe, and then I'll do dinner. And dinner's easy. It's some kind of protein, some kind of veggie. We love to do the protein bowls, the ground beef, cottage cheese, avocado, and sweet potatoes. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
it's
it
so good. And then you
sounds
can
so
drizzle some
good.
honey on top. It's so good.
Mm.
But something easy like that. That's typically my
Okay.
day. So I usually do like 4 or 5 times a day.
And you
I
eat
eat.
dinner like 6:30, and then no
Yeah,
snacking
usually
after.
like right around 5:30 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
Supplements, I just started taking creatine, and
yeah,
I put it in my water in the morning, but I saw that
yeah,
you do it after workout. Should I be doing it
yeah.
after workout as
I
well?
think it honestly, there's always people back and forth about this. I haven't so far, nothing that I've read said that taking it before or after makes any difference. I just do mine
Okay.
after. I put it in my yogurt bowl.
Okay.
But I don't know if it makes a difference. You can do it before or after, either way. You can
Okay.
try it. You can try after and see if you feel any different. But creatine's a for sure.
Okay.
Yes, we love
What
our
else do we
creatine.
need? I know you take magnesium.
Um, I do a magnesium complex at night, so
Okay.
it's all 7 forms of magnesium are in this complex.
Okay.
Omega 3, I think, is super important. Omega 3, vitamin D, I think, is super
Okay.
important for women. I need to get on the vitamin B train because I've been reading about that. I need to do that. And then really, I mean, pretty easy, like a probiotic, making sure you get a probiotic. I do collagen in my
Me
coffee. I do
too.
like a collagen
I
coffee in the
do too.
morning. I'm pretty simple.
No, that
What
I
else?
mean, and look at
I do
you.
like a
That
multi. I do like a multivitamin. I'm trying to think of what else.
well,
I think
I
that's
have
it.
another question
Yeah,
about what else. I
yeah,
was thinking about what I was like, what are my other pills? Oh, HRT, estrogen and
yes,
progesterone. Do you
yes.
take
I do
okay.
HRT. Yeah,
Okay.
and I started
Great.
doing so. I started doing HRT at age 51. I'm 52 now.
Okay.
So it's been about a year and a half, a little over a year and a half, and it's amazing. And I started hot flashing at around age 48, and I was
Okay.
trying to write it out. I'm the kind of person where I'm like, I'm just going to figure this out. I'm going to write it out. It'll be fine. And like they kept cycling to where they would kind of go away and then they'd come back. Like, oh my gosh, this is miserable. And finally, it was right around the time of my 51st birthday. And I remember hearing that this can go on for years. Like hot flashes can go on for 10 years. And I just thought to myself, ain't no way. There is no way because I was hot flashing multiple times per hour all through the night. I was not sleeping, and I just thought to myself, if I can't sleep, everything's ruined. I mean, if you're not sleeping, it wrecks everything. And
Yes.
I was just, and I was embarrassed all the time too, because I'm like sweating through everything. I, it was constant. So I just told the
Mhm.
doctor, I was like, I put me on something. I can't, I got to. And then I realized within a few months of being on HRT, I do a cream, I do estrogen cream, and then I do progesterone oral.
Okay.
And then I started 6 months after I started doing testosterone cream.
I
But I
haven't
realized,
started that yet.
yeah, I think it's a game changer as far as your energy and
Okay.
libido too. It helps libido. But I just felt like, wow, I didn't realize how much I wasn't feeling like myself and how much more I feel like myself now.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and also I do facial estrogen and I do vaginal estrogen. FYI for the ladies, they're not systemic, so they don't
Right.
affect any of the hormones
It
in
doesn't
your
go
body.
anywhere else in your body.
No, but the vaginal estrogen is so huge because if you deal with incontinence or bladder infections or pain during intercourse, I'm just going to say it. I'm just like going to be outright
Please.
about it. Oh my gosh, game changer. And so
Really?
Kelly Casperson, I don't know, you know, Kelly Casperson is,
I
she's
listened to you
also,
on her show.
yeah, she's awesome and she's local to me, but she's the very first person who ever said, it's like chapstick for down there. I thought, well, duh, we need chapstick down there. So why wouldn't we do that? But it was a game changer. So
That
I
is so
do,
good to know.
those are the 5 modes of HRT that I do, and
What
I
is
love it.
facial estrogen? Is just like a cream on your face?
So I get it. So I pick everything up at my compounding pharmacy. And so she compounds it with other facial products. She puts it together with
Oh,
like other skin, like other great things for your skin. But it's literally, I think it's the same stuff that's in your vaginal estrogen, but
it's
she
working
compounds
for
it
you.
into a cream for the face. Yeah. It gives you that supple glow. Just makes
Yes.
you extra glowy. Yeah.
What else wellness? Like, are you doing cold plunges,
Mm,
sauna?
not really.
No.
I know
Okay.
people ask me, they're like, what peptides are you doing? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing them. I'm not against them. I mean, I think if things are used well and you're consulting with your doctor,
Hmm.
but I'm not doing them. I don't really do, we have a sauna. I don't really use it.
Okay.
Um,
I
I'm
love a
pretty
sauna.
basic. I'm
You
pretty
are. But
basic.
look at you. It's working. I wouldn't change anything.
I haven't
Um,
even really done red light or anything. I don't know. Yeah.
okay. Do you do I think I've heard you say mouth taping for sleep and then just
I've
like
been
the
doing that, but I
importance of
haven't been
sleep.
doing that lately. I think I honestly was struggling with my sleep so much for so long. I was trying everything, but it's been so much better now that I feel like my HRT is kind of locked on,
Yes.
it's locked
Me
in. So I
too.
feel like that's helped me a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Importance of hydration. Like how much do you focus on
Yes.
your getting your water up?
Yes. I mean, I would just say some people will go overboard with their water. I'm like, you don't need to drink so much water. And especially if you're drinking a ton of water, make sure you get your electrolytes because that's the
I
first thing I
put
do
it
every
in there.
morning.
Me too.
I chug my electrolytes. Very
Before
first thing
coffee.
before coffee is chug my
Yeah.
electrolytes. But
Okay.
you know, I just get like 2 big Stanleys a day. Like I would say is at least get half of your body weight in water every day.
Okay.
Um, Stick to that. Keep it simple. You don't need. I mean, if you want, some ladies love to do a gallon. I feel like that's kind of over the top to get a gallon. That's just my opinion. I don't think I need a gallon
I
of
take
water.
your opinion. I want my body to look
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And I
It's
know
so
you
funny.
take diet breaks or like refeed periods. How long are those breaks?
Mm.
Like how long do you do
So
it and what does that do?
yeah, so I don't do that now, but I
Oh,
suggest that for my clients or anybody that's been in a deficit. So when you're in a deficit for a long period of time, you can stall out, you can plateau, right? And so like, especially with ladies who are just like forever under eating, but a calorie deficit needs to have an end date. Okay. You have a start date and an end date. It's not supposed to be indefinite, but sometimes you can stall out depending on how much weight you have to lose. So what you can do when you stall out is, you know, after 3 or 4 months, you feeling like nothing's moving, you can take a diet break where you eat in maintenance for maybe 1 week or 2 weeks. You can also, throughout the course of a deficit, you can take refeed days every once in a while. If you're just feeling super depleted and just like you can't, like zero energy, just need a refeed day. You can have a day where you eat in maintenance, a day or two where you eat
okay.
in maintenance. Yeah.
Got it.
I haven't done a deficit. The only time I did a deficit recently was in November because I popped into a bodybuilding competition like 2 weeks
Just
before it
popped in. I
happened.
know. The fact
I
that
just
you can
popped in.
enter two
That
weeks
was
before it
crazy.
happened
I know, it's kind of
speaks
nuts.
to this lifestyle
Well,
that you have
you know
made.
what? I honestly think that I didn't want to be too long prepping for it. So
I
I
get
just
that.
I kind of purposely did it for 2 weeks because I didn't want to spend like a whole month or a month and because I could see where that can get in your head a little bit, where all
Totally.
that stuff can get in your
Oh
head. So
my
I was like, two
God.
weeks, I'm good. And I was in a deficit and I was like, yay. It
I
was rough. But yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. Like when I again back to my mess, like never miss a Monday culture. was toxic
Mhm.
for me because I was
Yeah.
that and I would overtrain and I was in two a days. I was a Division One soccer player. So like
Oh,
soccer
wow.
was my whole life. I
You're
was always
hardcore.
conditioning. Hardcore took a left into like a disorder though, like
Yeah.
anorexia, bulimia. So never miss a
Yeah.
Monday. I still am like triggered. Like now if I'm tired
Mm.
on Monday, it's like I listen to what does my body need. And like
Yeah.
maybe it's infrared sauna, maybe it's just a walk. But before it
Yeah.
didn't matter what my body needed. It was
Yeah.
yes, never miss a Monday. And it turned into, yes, it can be like positive, but again, like a mom listening, if you have a kid like that, there were four of us. I was the oldest, shocker. And I was just this like
Mm.
driven. I was the only
Yeah.
one that struggled. We all played Division One soccer in college, but I took it too far. And
Yeah.
there's a child that you're always like, oh my God, this one is so driven. And I don't have to worry about her. She's straight A's. And you're looking at the other ones.
Mm.
Look at that one. Like
Yeah.
that's the one that's going to take it too
Yeah.
far. So how much is
Yeah.
it like mindset and like just kind of listening to your body and being in tune with your body and embody, like in your body? Talk about the mindset
Mhm.
part of it all.
I mean, mindset is huge. And well, it's so interesting that you mentioned that because I literally just took, in case you guys didn't know, a deload. I took a deload week last week.
I don't even know
So
what that
I just
means.
was, that means, so I was just feeling in my body. I was just feeling like I was feeling fatigued. I knew I was eating enough. I knew I was getting decent sleep. I was just feeling tired. I was
Yeah.
feeling like nothing was really progressing. I was kind of stalled, just feeling really fatigued and tired. I would listen to my body and I said, I'm going to take a deload week. So that's where you work at about 60 to 70% of your normal loads. So you do your regular lifting schedule, but you just cut it back. And you can
Yeah.
cut your volume in half if you want. So it's really a good time to focus on your form and your technique. But so I just listened to what my body was telling me and I said, it's time for a deload week. You can do that anytime, like every 4 to 8 weeks. Take a deload.
I
So it's
love
not like you're
that.
not doing anything. You're still moving, but you're just moving slower. You're just taking it down a notch. So
Yes.
listening to your body, but the mindset stuff, I'm always big on mindset, and especially when somebody's coming into really establishing new habits, because I always kind of say in the beginning, you got to get a little obsessed when you're establishing habits, just
Sure.
because you're removing the things that you knew were holding you back, and you're establishing new habits, and you got to get so laser focused on what you're doing until it's set.
Yeah.
Until it's set, and then you can have a little more like moderation, flexibility later. But and again, I mean, like I'm just listening to you talking, so it's like it really is up to each person. But the kind of way that I am is like, okay, when I'm getting something set and I'm setting my habits, I got to really get focused on what I'm doing and just go all in until later when I know everything's just set. Like this is my lifestyle, this is set, and that's why it's so hard. A lot of people just end up quitting. Like they start
Yes.
and then they quit because it's hard. It's hard to change, and it really is all about your identity. It's like an identity shift. When you
Yes.
want to become a new person, you want to have new habits, and you really want to focus on your health, it's going to take an identity shift. And I think that's why a lot of people quit because they just don't see themselves as that person. Like, I'm not, this is not who I am. I
Yes.
suck. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not able to do this. I'll never be able to do this. I've never been able to do it. So they get in their head, they tell themselves these things and then they quit. And so like having your daily habits set and really just making them non-negotiable until it becomes who you are. And then you can kind of pull off a little bit. Does that make sense?
It makes
A
total
little
sense.
bit?
And you're just so much
Yeah.
more regulated. And this question almost doesn't make sense. But what I wanted to ask you is do you ever worry about like taking it too far and like not being able to take your foot off the gas? Like you get these gains and you have this big following and you get this
Hmm.
validation that you won't be able to stop. But it seems
Yeah.
like talking to you, you don't really feel that way.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I think about that. I think about that sometimes.
Okay.
I need to keep growing and I need to keep building this
Right.
business and I need to keep going. And so it's like I have a lot of good conversations with my husband about these things. And he's
Yeah.
great because he helps to keep me grounded. He always kind of brings me back to like, okay, we need to refocus on what's important and kind of have a reset. We'll talk about these things a lot because
I love that.
I think it's natural too. Like I'm a very driven person, and
Yes.
I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I'm just like I'm having so much fun with everything that I'm doing. Like I love every day so much. It's like what's gonna happen today? This is awesome. This is exciting, but I can get so carried away that I literally am just working all day long. It's all I'm doing is working on everything that I'm doing, and I don't ever disconnect.
I
I never
know.
disconnect.
I'm the same, but
I
my kids
never
are
like,
home
yeah,
and I
yeah,
feel
I never
bad.
turn
Like
it off.
me either. So you don't have any tips there because I'm that way with this
I'm working
show.
on it. I'm working on
I
it.
I never just sit with, like, if I get a big guest, like today, I should just be, it's very hard for me to be like, I had Katie Couric. I was excited for like a day
Oh
and
my
then I was like
gosh,
Michelle
amazing.
Obama, but I don't sit with it. I'm like, it's
Yeah,
never enough. Like
yeah,
and I check numbers. I will admit it. Like, I have to
mhm,
grow the show. It has to be the biggest show ever. And it's like this external validation push mentality, but I've grown something that I'm so proud of. And it's like, it's hard for me to turn it off, even when my
yeah,
kids get off the bus. Like, I'll do my shows between 10 and 2, but I'll like get an
yeah,
idea about something. And you're so passionate about something and driven that it's hard to turn it off. But that's also
yeah,
why you're successful. So it's like you want to
yeah,
be that way. But I wonder
yeah,
too, is like this the first time this new body in your 50s that you've been like validated for like your physique? And do you worry about like not having, like, if you weren't in that, God forbid, something happened, like
mhm,
having this
yeah.
be your validation? Does that question make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for
okay,
sure. That's got like I'm like, what if I were to get into an accident or injure
I wasn't
myself
gonna say
or
that. I'm not.
something? But no, but I mean, like, yeah, no, that's crossed my mind before. Like, well, then what? And that's why, like, it always comes down to. I mean, I'm very strong in my faith, and so
Yeah.
like that's where to me that grounds me because that is what at the end of the day all that matters, you know. And like I know who I am. I know who I am at my core. I know like I know what my values are at my core, and so that's ultimately at the end of the day what keeps me grounded, what keeps me centered. Um, because yeah, it would be easy to just get totally swept away by everything that's going on and by the social media and by the business and yeah, everything. And yeah, and like I said before, like it's hard to turn it off. It's hard to turn all that off because I love it. I've never
I know.
felt I never have felt more aligned in my entire life with what I'm doing. And the fact that I can have an impact on women and help them and help them build their confidence and see their value and see their power. What could be more fulfilling than that? Like, what could be better than that? It's like,
Yes,
pinch me. This
I
is a
love
dream
it.
come true. But I always have to come back to center and to my faith and who I am and what I was created for. And that everything could be taken away today. It could all be gone today. And what would I have? And like it's like me and God, we're good. We got to be good.
Yes.
You know what
Yes.
I mean?
You
Like
can
that's
tell. You're so
everything.
good. You're so just like,
Uh,
you're a calm presence, like you're regulated, and
yeah,
obviously what you're doing is working. The platform that you've built, the following that you've built as a fellow content creator, it is goals. I
yeah.
see you. If people aren't following you and they live under a rock somewhere, can you shout out your Instagram
You're so
where we can
funny.
get coaching, and
Yeah,
VIP coaching is coming?
yeah. So my Instagram is Alicia E, ALICIAE. And then my app, so on Alicia Erickson app.com is where you'll find my playbook app, which is where all my lifting programs are. I have all my recipes in there. There's an awesome community of women that in there. And then you'll also see in there at AliciaEricksonApp.com, you'll be able to see more information about group coaching. So I do group coaching. We meet on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then we meet in Circle, if you've heard of the Circle platform.
Mhm.
So we meet in there with a group chat and all that stuff. And then I'm just starting to roll out more VIP coaching where I'm actually hiring a group of coaches to come
Mm.
alongside me and help women to really dial, if they just that extra dial in of their macros, their lifting, and then I actually meet with my VIPs during the week as well. We have a call together as well. So that's just more in beta right now. That's kind of in trial. So we're working on that. But right now I have my app and then I have group coaching and it's been amazing. It's just awesome. The women are awesome. The women in my community are awesome. I like to say that like the energy that you put out is the energy that you bring back in. So if you like my energy, that's
I
the
do.
energy that's the energy that I put out, and that's the energy of the ladies that are in my community, and it's freaking awesome. And same with on my social media. Like the women are just awesome. You get
Yes.
the random trolls and the randoms every once in a while. I'm like, where did you come from?
What
Because
do you do
you
with
haven't been.
that?
I'm like,
Do
what
you
are you? Oh,
respond?
I delete and block immediately.
I can't get to
Block,
that point.
delete.
I try to like
Oh,
switch them. Somebody told me I was on a
no.
bigger podcast the other day. I'm not used to having that many eyes on me, so it was like a different audience. The
Yeah.
thing, like I've never seen that many negative, mean thing. I mean, like this woman has no idea what she's talking about. This woman's eyes are concerning. Like it was like,
Oh
and
my gosh.
what I've been saying, I was like, "Hey Ed, thanks," or like I almost wanted to feel bad for saying that, so I want them to see that I saw it. I never think to block. I respond. Like they hurt
No,
my
I
feelings,
don't
and
give it any I don't give it any energy anymore. I think
okay.
I got to a point because I used to do that. I did that up to a
Okay.
point. And I'm like, why am I giving this any energy? Like,
I
like,
know.
what are you doing here? Are you new? Because you're not part of this community. This is the
Okay.
community here. We lift each other up. We encourage each other. We edify each other. If you actually want to have a conversation with me, like an actual productive conversation, let's have it. Let's talk about it. But if you're going to come at me and start trolling, like straight up trolling, you're gone.
Okay.
Bye bye. You're
Bye-bye.
out. I don't take
Okay.
any energy. As I said, like I'll have a productive conversation with somebody if actually somebody wants to discuss something,
Sure.
like in a healthy manner. But if you're spewing hate and being a complete jerk, you're out. You're out.
You are so damn inspiring. I am so grateful
Aw,
to have
you're
had
so
this much
sweet.
time with you. A woman listening that's in midlife, what's like the one thing you want to make sure she takes from our conversation today?
She's worth the effort. Like you are worth the effort. You are worth everything that you want. This is not the end. This is literally your prime. This is literally when things just start getting good. You've done all the groundwork. You've been taking care of everybody else. It's time to take care of you. This is your moment. And life is just going to get better. It's how you decide to do it. It's what you are deciding to do with your life from here on forward. But it's going to be the best chapter if you decide to make it that chapter. You got to pour into you though. And you're worth it. You should take the time for you because you're worth it.